What's up, guys? So you read the title, you know what's up. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is probably one of the greatest films ever made. So if you're not familiar, it's about a little girl and her mom that go to stay with a Spanish captain, right smack dab in the middle of World War II. And Ophelia, the main character, is a little bit frightened because the captain is gonna be her new stepdad. So Ophelia and her mom are staying at this kind of military compound until her unborn brother is born. And in the meantime, she starts going off on these mythological adventures. Which when I say it like that makes it sound like a really fun, like, kids movie kinda. But in reality, no. This movie is full of blood, gore, death, destruction, and tragedy. But ironically, it's also a coming-of-age story, so go figure. And I'm not lying, this is one of the most well-made films I've ever seen. This movie is not without flaws, but those flaws are so minute that they almost don't even matter. But seriously, this is a gritty-ass movie. People get their shit tossed. There is some brutal shit that happens to people. And the fact that it's so not sugar-coated makes a perfect contrast for this optimistic, childlike protagonist, who basically discovers that her life is kind of juxtaposed into a fairy tale. And within this mythological landscape, you can see Ophelia's character developing more and more and more throughout. And in a sense, I feel like this movie is kind of about her loss of innocence, but also taking on responsibility and becoming an adult, and just kind of becoming her own independent person. Because as a kid, you kind of just don't want anybody to tell you what to do. You just want to be kind of free of everything. And you slowly realize that as you become an adult, you actually do have the freedom to do whatever you want. But with age and freedom comes this burden of having responsibility. And there's like other deep concepts that go along with it, but I just thought that was great. Also, the acting is just fucking awesome. The mom is just really believable as this like caring, nurturing parent that really cares about her daughter, but also wants to remain loyal to the captain as his new bride-to-be. So her character struggle is also pretty interesting. And the captain is a complete and utter dickwad. Like, in cold blood kills people kind of dickwad. You will hate him 20 minutes into the movie. Because the reason why he's posted at that compound is because there's a rebel army nearby. So he's basically the Gestapo to try and weed them out. And that's another really cool storyline that's kind of interwoven into the movie. That's another really deep concept of good versus evil. And the other two main characters, there's a maid and a doctor. The doctor works for the captain, but he has good intentions. And the maid kind of acts as like a second mother to Ophelia. And she's great, whoever that actress was. She just brought this like crazy intensity to the role. Which leads me to my next point, because at one point she's kind of like Ophelia's second mother almost. Also very nurturing and kind of looks out for her because her mom's kind of bedridden at the moment. And the maid kind of hums this lullaby to Ophelia at a certain point. And that melody that she hums kind of becomes the theme musically for the entire movie. And it was just perfect. Like, it felt innocent, but also a little bit bleak at the same time. Like, it was just really, I don't know, I just really identified with the music for some fucking reason. Like, the music really intensifies, like, every scene. It was great. And also, visually, this movie is a fucking gem. I'll admit, some of the CGI is a little bit dated. Like, you can totally tell when something is and is not CGI. However, there are a shitload of practical effects in the movie, and they're all fantastic. This movie is a marvel to look at all around. Which leads me to one of the negatives about the movie. This movie is entirely in Spanish. I mean, if you buy it on Blu-ray or DVD or whatever, yeah, you can have like the English dub, but it's not the same thing. It doesn't have the same feel to it. Because the Spanish language kind of has a certain flavor to it, and that's true for pretty much any language, but if it's in Spanish, you know, there's gonna be subtitles, and this movie is visually stunning, so this is one of those movies that you kind of have to watch more than once, because the subtitles will totally distract you from all this like marvelous shit that's going on screen. But that's just a negative for me personally, because I don't speak Spanish yet, and that's the reason why I actually watched this movie the other day, is because I'm learning Spanish right now. Anywho, besides that, there was one death scene that just, like, the physics of it just looked retarded. Like, somebody gets shot, and then it just looks cartoony after that. And I was just like, fucking, alright. Like, it took me out for like 0.2 seconds, but it was like very noticeable. But other than that, I really don't have any negatives. Like, this movie is fucking incredible. It might not be the perfect movie to me, but it's so up there, and it's just so fucking well made that it's like, how can you not like this movie? Unless you're like a little kid, then, you know, it's gory, so don't watch it. But yeah, if you're a parent, don't let your kid watch this, because they're gonna be mortified. And speaking of mortified, I found out that the girl who plays Ophelia is like, she's like in her 20s now, and she's on the Shannara Chronicles on MTV. Like, what the fuck? If you watch the Shannara Chronicles, that's fine, but fuck MTV. That's how I feel. And whatever the girl's name is who played Ophelia is so fucking good in this movie that you just feel like a show on MTV is so beneath her. Or at least that's what I think, so I was just kind of like, what the fuck is that? Totally unrelated, but I felt the need to bring it up because she's so freaking good in this movie. But anyway, for a rating, I'm giving this movie easy 9.7. Effects are a little bit dated, but everything else is just on fucking point. Guillermo del Toro is a great director, and he needs to make way more movies like this. And I feel like if he directed the Hobbit movies, they would have been exponentially better, but hey, you win some, you lose some, right? So do yourself a favor and go watch this movie. Alright guys, that's my 2 cents for the day. Hope it was worth it. If you have seen this movie, hats off to you. Leave me a comment, let me know what's up. Other than that, like, subscribe, do all that other shit, and I'll catch you guys later.